Abusuan ini kumo o choni so aha eg politics albany onia podcast of section ya meku simiki headlines na jumre na idibi exumo lawyer Martin Kpebu itimi adena no ato eye untumi eye ne sentence a yede ama no 20-year jail term and yede ama eye chairman untumi na onia kire se NPP amayikuo no emu mpanyinfo mudi anim a mokeka sɛ wosei ɛyɛ political prison anaa wɔyɛ ntumi ɛyɛ political prisoner ɔsɛ monya dede na moyɛ no na monsiki for ɛyɛ presidential pardon ɛno ɛna ebitumi aboa mo na mɛhyerɛ wo sɛ mu wura nsɛm no mu abra lawyer Martin Kpebu agyemmerɛ na ɔnso ɔtumi ɛkyɛ no adwen ɛfa nsɛm yi mu
Chairman Wontumi's campaign team that is for the NPP's national chairmanship. He talks about whether or not the NPP constitution is quite clear on what's going to be happening to him. We'll get into it shortly, but Martin Kpebu is also joining us. He is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the Oral Preparatory Team. Council, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, I want to find out from you. You just heard Dr. Paulo Bachidankwa talk about, in their view, and in fact, this has also been expressed by the NPP, that Chairman Wontumi is just a political prisoner, having been handed this 20-year jail term with the fines as well. Is that what you also share in? Is he a political prisoner from the lenses that you're wearing?
Oh, not at all, not at all. That's farcical. It sounds as a joke. But I understand what they're doing. You know, they need to galvanize their base, etc. So that's why they're doing this. So this is just for the optics. But in reality, no. Let's show the pictures of the distraction. Maybe that's what will make the message sink when we see the pictures. And at the time of the operation, on 16th and 17th of April 2025, you see that there were about 20 excavators, if not 25, on the land. Then you look at the vehicles, you look at the other machines. It was a big mining site, big one. So it's not a joke. Maybe let's pull, TV3, you did a story on it. So people have the pictures of the mining site. If you see it and you see the distraction, then this joke about political prisoner will vanish. I think their best bet will be that, look, they should just accept. They shouldn't try to, cover up wrongdoing. Yes, this is the example of a bad parent whose son or daughter has misbehaved and the parent is siding with the son or daughter. That's not good. What they would need a lot from this current administration is a presidential pardon, but not a pardon as such, but what I actually mean is remission in sentence. We commonly call everything pardon, not a pardon. The conviction would stay, but a remission in sentence. Under our laws, with the 20-year sentence, of course, there are two sentences concurrently, so just call it 20 years. Usually, the person will not serve all the 20 years. Under our laws, we make the person serve 2/3, and then 1/3 is remitted. Now, this 2/3, so if you do 20 divided by 3, you would get about 6 point something for each one. So when you put it together, you are getting about 13.7 thereabout years for that he will serve. So the remaining one will be thrown away. So out of this 13 point something he would serve, the president can give a further remission. So you see, earlier in the day, I've been talking about they asking for a remission after he served anywhere between 5 and 7 years, if he's given a remission in sentence, but with a big rider that he should contribute to the reclamation of the destroyed forest, if not completely pay for it. So he should try, his legal team, they should put together consultants, engage with the Minerals Commission, then they will pay as much as they can for the reclamation. So that, as I said, 5 years from now, when they put in an application to the then president, I believe that would be another NDC this person, because that would be after the 2028 elections. So somewhere around that time, when they put in the application for remission of sentence to the president for leniency, and they can show that, oh, after the conviction, he's helped to reclaim the land, etc., I think he can be given a remission in sentence, and the Ghanaian people may accommodate that remission. That's better than this noise they are making about he's not guilty, he's a political prisoner. It's all politics, it's not real.
I see. On the matter of the land reclamation, which you talk about, the NPP minority references in their statement, they say that, and in fact, one of the lawyers of Chairman Wontumi as well did reference it, that throughout the trial, the prosecution did not produce any documentary evidence about the deed of assignment that Chairman Wontumi gave to the prosecution witness to, as it were, undertake illegal mining on this Akonta mining concession in the Samurai Boy forest, and that it was just a verbal, agreement whatsoever, and that Chairman Wontumi says he told the prosecution witness to go and undertake reclamation and plant coconut, not to go and do illegal mining. And the prosecution witness too says, well, you told me to go and do mining as well. And from where you sit, will Chairman Wontumi's lawyer's position suffice in law that to the extent that, look, there was no deed of assignment, nothing documentary to show that Chairman Wontumi told this person to go and do illegal mining, and so there's no basis for what is being charged for?
Not at all. Not at all. In law, that reminds me, there's a popular saying, maybe the lawyers forgot. There's a popular saying in law that an agreement for a lease is as good as a lease. You hear the popular English case, Walsh and Lonsdale. Walsh and Lonsdale. I'm sure they didn't think about it at the time they were saying so. Wontumi doesn't deny, you see, you read the judgment, etc. It doesn't deny that he gave the concession to Henry Okum, right, and Michael Eyisi Jedu. But actually, he gave it to Okum, and Michael Eyisi Jedu works for Henry Okum. Right? He doesn't deny, but he says that he asked Okum to reclaim the land. To reclaim the land means somebody else had mined, or even if not mined, let's say used it, that the land is in a bad shape. So they need to make it be able to regrow vegetation, etc. So he said he gave him, Wontumi's defense, that he gave him the land to reclaim, but he didn't pay. He said in order to pay for that reclamation, Henry Okum should plant coconut trees. And I don't know the gestation of coconut trees. It's certainly the ones I know. It's not less than 5 years. So he's giving him whatever years it is, but coconut is not 1 year or 2 years. Okay, I don't want to be committed on a number of years. But he's saying that when the coconuts mature, then Henry Okum can plug, sell, and pay himself. That's a cock and bull story. Absolutely cock and bull. That's why his defense fell apart. So this thing that there's no written agreement, every law student, I think from the level 300 or so, if not 200, they become familiar with the property law principle that an agreement for a lease is as good as the lease itself. So once you agree, even if you don't write it down, you will be caught, because the law will not allow you to commit fraud. That you can use your mouth to promise a lease or an assignment to Dennis Wedam Puabiri, and then when it suits you, this same grantor, maybe let's say Abdallah, then he'll change his mouth and decide to give it to you, Miss Okansi, because you can pay more money. No. We don't allow fraud in law. When you open your mouth and make that promise, once everything else shows that you were serious, it was not a joke, you will be bound by it, notwithstanding that there's no written document. I'm sure they had forgotten that principle at the time they were saying that there was no written document. An agreement for a lease is as good as a lease, old English law principle that we've adopted in countless Ghanaian cases. Hey, otherwise, you know the kind of fraud that will be perpetrated if the person can speak with his mouth, and then tomorrow he can change. No. You can't.
Council, appreciate you for this, and thank you very much. And stay with me after this quick break. I want to find out from you, the NPP and his lawyers have indicated they're going to appeal this, how this appeal could possibly play out. That is after this quick break here on Ghana Tonight. Stay with us.
AG's department is there, but instead of stretching those institutions, we have always been adopting the knee-jerk and the ostrich approaches. Well, we need new institutions. Tomorrow, this government will come, new institutions. Another government will come, new institutions. Another government will come, new institutions. All in the name under the umbrella of giving effect to provisions of the Constitution. And I'm saying that if it has to do with giving effect to the provisions of the Constitution, then as well, everything or every provision under the directives of the state, directive principles of state policy should have as well been given meaning. When it comes to the fundamental human rights from chapter 12 up to, I think, 33 or so, every other aspect should also be given meaning. Okay. Then we move on in that regard.
Here's why I bring in Lawyer Bernard Bediako-Bedo. I decided to take all these matters and so that I seek the specific answers from you, because you were in Parliament, you participated in the process of passing this particular bill, and it's awaiting presidential assent. The questions being asked this morning by the minority and the NPP and other persons essentially is that what's the real need for this tribunal system? Strengthen the existing systems to address the objectives why you are bringing the tribunal system, and then also the matter of the history, in that it invokes nightmares. So really, why do you want to do this?
Well, thank you so much, Alfred. Good morning to you, your team, and then my seniors around the table. First of all, from where I sit, I've not heard any issue that has been raised and has not been given answers from anybody, without the minority or any interested person in this whole matter. Because there are no issues, as far as I'm concerned.
There are no issues?
At all. And I'll prove it to you.
The problem is that there is no problem.
See, and council conceded that it is constitutional. What we are seeing today is constitutionally provided for. I'll come to certain things that has been raised. And so you know that the Constitution per 126, 142, and all that. This whole thing about trying to create an impression as though the tribunals are not part of our judicial system, it's false. The Constitution, it is part of our courts, per the Constitution. And I'll tell you a certain history. It is part of it, so it's not as if it is a different, if you look at the Constitution, the tribunals are tied together with the High Court. And in everything, their mode of appointment, dismissal, if there should be, and everything. In fact, the Chief Justice, what is enshrined in our Constitution, the Chief Justice is the head of the tribunal.
True.
It's not the president. So I don't know where this whole thing is coming from. We try to make it as though the tribunal system is a different set of whatever. It's part of our courts, as the Constitution says. We don't have time to go into it. But if one wants me to read it subsequently, I'll do it.
No, so this is it. This is the Superior Court, that's the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, and the Regional Tribunal.
It is part of our court, so you don't decouple it. It is part. According to the Constitution, it's not been repealed. That is what the Constitution tells us. Now, look, I have here, and this fear, the so-called fear. See, the tribunals as we have, or we had in the Constitution of 1992, is not the same as the tribunals we had under the PNDC era. It's not. And that point must be made at all.
What's the difference?
Yes, I'll tell you. This is a copy of the report of the Committee of Experts on proposals for a draft constitution of Ghana. This is the foundation of the constitution we operate with. Now, if you read their comments or their reports on the tribunals, if you have time, permit me to read this. It's very important. A lot of things has been said out there. I don't know where they came from. Please listen. Now, that is 266. The committee has carefully considered the issue as to whether the retention of the existing, and don't forget, this gave birth to the constitution. So there was an existing tribunal, and they were to consider whether to keep that existing tribunal as it was then or to do something about it prior to the 1992 constitution and beyond. So whether the retention of the existing public tribunals would be compatible with the constitutional principles enunciated above with respect to the judiciary and the administration of justice generally. The committee's conclusion is that whatever the merits of the tribunals, they cannot be exempted from the general regime of the administration of justice inaugurated by the Constitution, which is anchored on the final judicial power of the Supreme Court. The citizens of Ghana should not be subjected to two parallel systems, because what they had before, just keep your mind on that. What existed before the 1992 was like two parallel, and that is what they have sought to invent into this discussion, which is not the case. It was what we have now, and so you hold it. Now, it goes beyond and even talks about the United Nations Declaration on Principles of Independence. They quoted it and what it says. But this is the report, this is their conclusion. It is therefore considered, a lot happened, but I can't read everything because of time. It is therefore the considered opinion of this committee that the public tribunals cannot be retained in the...
We and some of the team also channel so my so